From 9.
A little something for the weekend with Sam Hunt.
Yeah, striding into the weekend with Sam Hunt this morning. Morning, Sam.
Good morning, Whammo. Good morning.
Joining us from the Kaipara, of course.
From the Kaipara, from the lightning-struck Kaipara. What I've got to say is that if in my little session this morning I've got to suddenly hang up, it means that lightning has struck here.
Okay.
And the phone. So listeners, well, we got the hit last Tuesday, the day of the tornado.
Yes.
Down near Auckland, in Albany. Well, that started over the Kaipara, and we had this house where Alf and I live. On the Arapawa River, we for the third time the house got struck by lightning.
Yeah,
and to my horror, my new stereo amp, my Cambridge Azure 550A, struck out. But once it was all over. And the storm it was fork lightning.
Yeah.
But once I'd unplugged and plugged the Cambridge Azure 550A back in, it reprogrammed itself, and we were away singing.
Oh, good. Okay. So
I only wish that I could do that for myself after I'd been struck by lightning.
Yeah. So I mean, did you feel the energy in the air?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The house was shaking, and there was absolutely no time between the lightning and the thunder.
Yeah. Right.
And as Alf and I were discussing, light travels at 186,000 miles a second, and sound, of course, travels at 750 miles an hour. I mean, it's really slow. But for them to come on exactly the same time. So but I want to say it's quite comforting because John Dryden, I think it was, somebody told me, said that a poet was one who has been lightning struck. I think he may have said struck it, because he had a lisp.
Yeah.
And then he said, anyone who's been struck, a great poet is someone who's been struck twice.
Yeah.
Well, I rest my case, having been struck 3 times.
What are conditions like there this morning?
At the moment, they're brewing. They're beautiful. I'm looking as I'm talking to you here on the telephone, wondering whether it's going to jump out of my hand at any minute. But it's brewing. That's what would be a way of putting it.
So that's a clue for what perhaps Auckland could be in store for later on.
Well, yeah, it's okay at the moment here. I mean, it may be all okay, but we're certainly going to get lightning again. And if it does what it did last time, apparently about 4 different things, it's great.
You don't feel like walking to the top of a hill and screaming at the top of your lungs and yelling at the storm or anything like that?
Well, I'll do something else, because last week I did that Sylvia Plath poem, Lady Lazarus.
Yeah.
And I've had a lovely response. One email to my website. Yep. From Angela from Cape Foulwind. Good place to come from. Just out of Westport. And she listens onto the podcasts of our thing, or whatever it is. I don't know what she hears, but she hears it.
Yeah.
And she loved the poem, and she said, would I make an exception and do another Sylvia Plath today? And with such a nice letter and such a great poem that I'd like to read. Now, Sylvia Plath, just quickly to recap, for those who weren't listening last week and those who don't know, but Sylvia Plath died in the early 1963. She killed herself. She was 30 years old. Every 10 years of her life, she had a go at it. She was sort of fatally drawn to suicide, to death. In the last 6 months of her life, the poems that she'd been writing since she was a young girl, the last 6 months of poems were just white heat. She talks in one of the poem I'm going to tell you in a moment. She talks of herself as a pure acetylene virgin, and they're white heat. And this is a poem which I've loved, if I may read it. Called it's a pretty heavy number, said especially for Angela of Cape Foulwind. The door just slammed then. What's happening? Oh, my God. Called, you okay for it here?
Yes.
Yep, it's called Fever 103. So it's by Sylvia Plath, and this is one of the last poems that she wrote. And I'm not reading that for the melodrama of that, but just because it's such, like Lady Lazarus and like Daddy and other great poems of hers, they're just such great poems, I think. Fever 103. Pure, what does it mean? The tongues of hell are dull, dull as the triple tongues of dull, fat Cerberus who wheezes at the gate, incapable of licking clean the aguey tendon, the sin, the tinder cries, the indelible smell of a snuffed candle, love, love, the low smokes roll from me like Isadora's scarves. I am in a fright, one scarf will catch an anchor in the wheel. Such yellow sullen smokes make their own element, they do not rise, but trundle round the globe, choking the aged and the meek, the weak, hothouse baby in its crib, the ghastly orchid hanging its hanging garden in the air, devilish leopard, radiation turned it white and killed it in an hour, greasing the bodies of adulterers like Hiroshima ash and eating in the sin, darling. All night I have been flickering off on. The sheets grow heavy as a lecher's kiss. 3 days, 3 nights, lemon water, chicken water, water make me wretch. I am too pure for you or anyone. Your body hurts me as the world hurts God. I am a lantern, my head a moon of Japanese paper, my gold-beaten skin infinitely delicate and infinitely expensive. Does not my heat astound you and my light? All by myself, I am a huge camellia, glowing and coming and going, flush on flush. I think I am going up, I think I may rise. The beads of hot metal fly, and I, love, I am a pure acetylene virgin, attended by roses, by kisses, by cherubim, by whatever these pink things mean. Not you, nor him, not him, nor him, myselves dissolving old whore petticoats to paradise.
Wow, that's a beauty.
Isn't that good?
Yeah.
Fever 103. So said for you, and for the listeners, and particularly Angela at Cape Foulwind. She's very, very good. I mentioned last week, when I was very young, I had her volume Ariel, and then somewhere got lost, and then just a few weeks ago when I was in Auckland, I went into Unity Bookshop.
Yeah.
Give them a plug, because they're hard to find books like that. And there was Sylvia Plath's collected poems, and what a joy to come across them, and also to find a lot of the poems that she wrote as a much younger woman that I'd never read before. So it's been good.
Did you manage to catch up with Dylan over the last weekend?
No, I did not.
Oh.
No, I did not. No, I'd love to, but but things didn't work out as I'd hoped they may have, and so no, but you know, big crowds are a bit scary.
Yeah.
When you get, you know, it's okay if you're doing a show because you can go back to your broom cupboard backstage when it's over. But when you're there and a whole lot of people, and people often want to talk to you when you go to something. I went to a music thing in Whangarei. I really wanted to hear this, and people just come up and yak in your face. And then when you say, "Look, I've come to hear the band," They get all stroppy and think I'm being up myself. Well, bugger me, I can't get anything right.
Yeah.
So no, but but did you go?
I didn't know. I did go to the comedy gala, and actually I had to take issue with 4 probably inebriated people sitting in front of me that were interested in everything else but what was going on stage.
It's bloody hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I think of that great Ezra Pound line. I've often probably quoted it, but I love it from one of the cantos. He says, "Oh world, my poems were written for 5 people. Oh world, I pity you. You do not know these 5 people."
Right.
Yeah, no, it's good. But friends like DK, David Kilgour, and the band, because they played the night before in Auckland, and so they went along, had a great night, loved it, and various other friends went along, so it was good. So he had some appreciative people in his audience, and so he should.
Yeah.
Phenomenal man.
Yeah.
Somebody saying how skinny his legs have got. Oh well, don't worry, Bob. You haven't got that on your own. I used to love it as a kid in the Goon Show. We used to listen to the Goon Show, and you still hear the odd one, don't you? The Goon Show.
Yeah.
And there was one famous Goon Show episode where they had a character called Mr. Thinlegs 1912. And my mother, when I was a child, she often used to call my dad. She'd say, "Oh, here comes Mr. Thinlegs 1912." Well, this is Mr. Thinlegs 1912 signing off from the Kuiper. We've done it without being struck by lightning.
Yeah, and thank goodness for that. And but stay safe out there.
Well, shall we
today.
just do a quick weather forecast? Looking out on the Kuiper, it's looking pretty. It's looking actually look milder now than it was about when you rang this morning. So.
Have you got one of those barometers in your house? You know, the one that says change,
yeah, I've got one
fine,
of those. I've got
storm.
a couple of those downstairs here.
Oh, I was confused staring at them. It was always changeable.
I think they're great things. They are amazing. I've bought a very old one, which I've had for years. It's downstairs, and I must go and check it. They're bloody marvellous. Dead simple. Dead simple, but what a brilliant invention.
Oh, when the pressure's dropping, it's when you know to duck and run for cover.
Yeah, well, that's right. Well, anyway, here we are. We stand on a frail earth.
Yeah, we do. Thanks.
Hey, you have a good weekend, Wemo.
You too. Yeah.
And all the best, and thank you, Angela, very much for that email too.
Indeed.
Sylvia Plath's very good, but I just say to you, don't get balance it out with a few good, happy poems.
Exactly. Don't get too melancholy.
Exactly.
Yeah. See you soon.
Okay. See you
Later. Bye.
Bye, Wemo.
That was a little something for the weekend with Sam Hunt, only on Kiwi FM.